Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. It is Friday, May the 2nd, and we are well into a lovely spring here where I live. I'm sure it's real pretty around where you are as well, but we have a great day ahead of us today. We've got an hour to spend together. You can get back out there into your backyard in a minute, but first, let's go over the agenda because I want to tell you what we're going to be covering today. Obviously, you guys are all tired. I know you're tired. It's been a long election cycle here in our nation. Lots of ups and downs. Emotional roller coasters have a way of taking the energy around out of you. But we are going to be talking about the election from the other side today. Always, whenever there's an election in our nation, especially ones that we engage in, we want to make sure that we do a debrief. Now, the debrief today, I'm going to tell you, is not going to be like any other debrief that you've seen. They always do debriefs out there, and people look at it 18 different ways and look at all the numbers. You and I are going to have a family meeting style debrief today. It's time for us to sit down as a family and take a look at the realities of the world we live in and have a conversation about the future. That's what we're going to do as far as the debrief today. So as a family and a member of a family, a Christian family of God, in Christ, we are going to have that conversation today. We're also going to obviously talk about the four pillars because that's what we do here. We want to make sure that when we come together, we understand what it is we're coming together around. We obviously have our faith, but there are Christian principles that we rally around here on the briefing. We're going to review those today, of course. We're also going to give you some details about a couple of special events that are coming up. We have a book launch that's immediately ahead of us that's coming up, and I've got the author of the book here today. We're going to give you all the details there of how you can join us for a quick book launch. Really great information about child sex trafficking here in Canada and how you can stop it. So be there. You'll want to be there at that event. We'll give you the information today. We also have another special event that's coming up at the beginning of June with George Otis Jr. We're going to have George Otis Jr. Participate in an event with our American friends. We come together, as you know, from time to time on Transformers Zoom calls. Those are four people who have a heart for their communities. We come together and we look for ways that we can add value to the efforts of those that are working on the grounds, in the streets, the hands and feet of Jesus in their communities. We want to be there and provide them with resources. Well, George Otis Jr. is going to come alongside us at an upcoming event and help us out there as well. And then we're also going to be talking about closer to the end of the briefing here today about the plan moving forward. So when we talk about the plan moving forward, we sometimes here on the National Leadership Briefing take turns where we actually took a little bit more of a turn in one direction or the other, and we start moving a little bit away from some of the things that we do, and we move towards some other things that we feel God's leading us to do. Well, we're going to be taking a bit of a turn today, and so I'm going to tell you about that at the end of the briefing here today. So stick around to the end, because if you want to know where we're going, you're going to have to wait till the end to hear from that, hear from us on that. All right, after this quick video, we will come right back and get started with the election debrief. Back in a flash.
These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe.
Okay, well, this past Monday, we had a federal election in our nation. Now, during that election, lots of opinions were expressed. A lot of people got together. There were lots of speeches. There were a lot of people that were volunteering. There were a lot of people that were following their hearts. They were listening to the Lord. The Lord was leading them to take action. They went out and took action. They were obedient to the call that God placed on their lives. They were learning. They were growing. There was all kinds of great things that were going on during the election. It was a fantastic period of time. And of course, at the end of the election, some people could easily just say that none of it was worthwhile because whatever they wanted to have happen turn out at the end was not what happened. They wanted or had expectations of a specific outcome, and that did not happen. And sometimes what happens is when the goal that they had in their mind isn't achieved or the objective isn't secured, then they feel that all of the training and all of the other things that I just mentioned isn't worth it. Well, you and I both know it's worth it. Come on. Okay, come on. We did a lot of drilling and training. It's like if you work out in the gym and you're getting ready for a competition that like lifting weights or running or whatever the competition is, you're training for a long time. You cannot say that all of the drilling and training was a waste just because you didn't get the gold medal. It's absolutely worthwhile because you are closer to your objective after doing all of that. So let's get, first of all, let's remember, because we actually talk about this. If we did all this because we wanted to win an election, that is, I mean, I've never ever talked like that. And so if you're new to the brief, and maybe I need to clarify that right now, that's never been the objective, is that we all come together so we can win elections out there. Now, what we do want to do during elections is we want to engage in the conversations that take place during the elections, and we want to have a level playing field that we can actually operate on so that our ideas can be put forward with the other ideas out there. Remember, at election times, we teach that you don't just go into an election and look at all the candidates and listen to all their messages and then find out what it is that they want to say and then pick from the best of the worst of all of them. That's not how we do it here on the National Leadership Briefing. That's not what I encourage you to do. What we do is we say, look, we're going to equip you to articulate what you believe to be true, and then you're going to go out into the conversation that takes place, and you're going to communicate with candidates and with party officials, and you're going to communicate with people in the streets, and you're going to say, hey, this is what I believe, and this is what I believe is going to be a principle that we should be advancing and talking about because it's going to prosper the lives of our families and our neighbors and our nation. What do you think? Let's all get together and go speak to the candidates and advance this idea, these things that we believe to be true. That's how we do it here on the National Leadership Briefing. So the reason why I say all of that is because it's important that you know that if that's the posture that we're going to take, that we're actually bringing our ideas into the conversation as opposed to shopping off of a menu, then you're going to understand why I'm going to say what I'm about to say, why it's so important for you to know this. One of the things that I've done for many years of my life, many of you know that I am activated and have been activated for most of my life, my political Christian life, within the Conservative Party of Canada. In fact, I was a member of the National Council, the National Governing Board of a legacy party that came together with another party. It was the Canadian Alliance, came together with the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada to form the Conservative Party of Canada. And this Party of Canada that we formed, that we helped forge together as the National Council, we had an expectation that this would be a party that would preserve the landscape, the political landscape, where our ideas could compete fairly. And over the years, since 2003, when all of this began, this Conservative Party of Canada began, over the years, the landscape has been pretty much level. In other words, we have been able to go in to the processes of the party, to policy conventions, enter into elections at local levels for electoral district associations. We've been able to participate in nomination contests. All of the different processes that occur within a political party, we as people of faith, as Christians, have had access to all of the same levers equally that everyone else has had access to. So we've been fine to compete under those circumstances. In fact, I teach here on the National Leadership Briefing that if we are given a level playing field and the same rules apply to everyone, we don't care what the rules are. You can make the rules as crazy as you want, as long as they're the same rules for everybody. I will accept those terms and we will compete. Why? Because we have the Lord on our side and because we have good ideas on our side. Ideas that we know produce prosperity in the lives of our neighbor. So we just want a level playing field. That's all we ever asked for. Well, this is why we're talking about it today, this election, is because as we rolled out of every single political policy convention with the Conservative Party of Canada over the many years that I've been doing this, and I've attended every single policy convention, there has been increasingly a lowering of the amount of flexibility that we have to operate on a level playing field. We have had our playing field skewed even at times to give advantages to others who do not share our views and values to keep our ideas from competing within that party. And I've always said, come on, we're big kids. Come on, we're the adults in the room. We can definitely handle it. Doesn't matter. So they're just trying to play. I call them shenanigans. They can try their shenanigans, but you know what? We're still going to keep showing up. We're going to still keep outworking them. We're going to be out strategizing them. We're just going to keep going. And we've always been able to advance the things that we believe in into the party itself. Well, right before this last election, though, I think we hit a turning point. I think what we did was we actually came face to face with opposition within the party that skewed the actual rules to the degree where actually candidates weren't allowed to even compete and our ideas weren't even allowed to be brought forward. So therefore, the door slammed on us much the same as it did within the New Democratic Party, the NDP, and the Liberal Party under Justin Trudeau. Our Christian principles, our views and values were not allowed to compete within those parties, and the Conservative Party of Canada for the longest time was the only game in town, really, if you were looking for a game to advance the things that you believe in into. But now the door is closing. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do when all of a sudden our candidates get disqualified, when nomination contests are not allowed to go forward, when the party has consultants that advise them not to allow certain candidates to go forward because they're risky, because they're Christians or whatever it is? You can call it whatever you want. I know they dress it up and probably put a nice face on it. But what are we going to do moving forward? Because the one thing that we cannot do is we can't fool ourselves into believing that if we're not allowed to participate, if we're not allowed to be a part of the processes, if there's some kind of a Christian kids table that they're going to slide us onto for the next 4 years until the next election, or maybe even the next 2 years until the next election, what are we going to do about that? And so what I am doing right now is I'm actually developing a plan. I'm actually putting together the strategy that we are going to deploy here on the National Leadership Briefing as a effective and strategic response to the Conservative Party of Canada acting like anti-Christian bigots and playing the safe game, if you want to call it that. That's what they call it, is, hey, we don't want to risk anything, so don't let any of those Christians let their mouths run during the election cycle. But if that's the way it's going to be, you and I have to have a plan. So I'm putting one together, and so this is what I'm telling you as I guess a member of the family. Now, you guys can argue with me, and you guys can say, oh, that's a terrible plan, all that stuff, but I'll tell you, you better come to the next meeting that we have, though, when I present this plan, with a pretty good plan of your own, because I've been doing this an awful long time. I've got a real good read of the room. I know the players. I know exactly who these guys are. Matter of fact, I've known Pierre since he was a kid. He was maybe a little older than a kid. He was just had become a man at that point, and he was sitting at a table beside me licking envelopes back then. That's what we used to do, is take sponges and lick envelopes. We were working on campaigns, and Pierre was just a young guy, so I've known him a long time. I know all these guys. I've grown up with them and the party. So again, you can bring your own plan, but allow me to present mine at the next National Leadership Briefing. I'm going to be coming to you. I'm going to be sharing some very important information and updates. We're going to do the technical analysis. Obviously, it's really fresh still, so we're going to let all the chips fall where they may settle out from the election just this past week. But I'm just telling you right now, it's time for us to make a change, because if we do not respond in a strategic way, the door will close forever for us within the political party, the Conservative Party of Canada, which for the most part is the last game in town. Now, which brings me to one final thought I want to leave with you. So I'm going to be bringing you this plan at the next National Leadership Briefing. So if you want people to be there with you, you want to bring people to the briefing, you better bring them along. I'm going to send a link. I'll put a link in the post-briefing notes. You can share it around, and I'm going to lay out the plan. The one other thing, we have these other great parties, and I say great parties, not because they did really well during the election and not because, they're so successful or even that they are credible governing alternatives to the Liberal Party of Canada at election time. I'm talking about the three parties that participated in this past election. You have the Christian Heritage Party, led by an amazing man, Rod Taylor. What a fine gentleman. Of such high caliber and integrity, just outstanding, just an outstanding man. We have the Christian Heritage Party. We also have, obviously, the People's Party of Canada, who continue to produce votes at election time. They got over 139,000 votes, I think it was this time, in the election. So they are producing results. They've got a lot of work to do. Yes, they've got a lot of infrastructure still to build in the party. Yes, I know all those things. So don't send me a bunch of emails. I don't need to know the deficiencies of all these people. I got it. I know what they've got. I know what they don't have, and I know what they've got. But Maxime Bernier, hey, continues to be an attraction out there. And then we have also the United Party of Canada, led by Grant Abraham, who is, wow, man, I'll tell you, I've just pick up his book. The Battle for the Soul of Canada, Firing the Forge. It's go, and if you can't read the first 8 chapters, go straight to chapter 9 of his book. Matter of fact, I'll put a link in the description. You want to see a vision for Canada? Man, Grant Abraham has a vision for Canada. So you have these other parties, right? You have these parties that are credible participants, but they're not credible governing alternatives. So next National Leadership Briefing, you and I are also going to have an in-depth family-style conversation, honest, truth talking about where those parties are at and what we can expect from them moving forward as well. So that is where I wanted to leave it for today. You're going to get lots of people's opinions. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, if you ever sat in my house on election night, man, I tell you, just got to hold up my phone. I get lots of opinions. Everybody's got an opinion. I love it. I love hearing from people, but when it comes to actually developing a strategic plan for moving forward, you got to be careful who you listen to. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, just take my word for it, listen to me and follow me blindly. No. Hey, put my plan to the test. Check out the things that we teach here on the National Leadership. Go back in the archive. It's not like I'm some sort of mystery. If you go back 4.5, 5 years in our archive on the YouTube channel, I'm transparent, man. You know me. You know who I am. I'm very well defined. So whoever you are getting your advice from out there, just hold up that person up against sort of the history that we've got here and make sure you're getting good information, because I'm going to bring quality information in the form of a plan for you and I to execute moving forward. And I'll tell you one thing it's not going to be, I just want to warn you, it's not going to be to blindly jump on the Conservative Party of Canada bandwagon and follow the new leader or Pierre Poilievre or whoever's going to lead the party, follow them into the future, pretending that we don't have a problem. That is not going to be my plan. My plan is not to cover my eyes, my ears, and my mouth like the 3 monkeys. No, it's going to be it's probably going to look more like, hey, okay, well, we're a forgiving group. We love you. We love you, the Conservative Party of Canada leadership. We love you, the National Council. We love you. We want to see you do well. We want to see the party do well, and we want to see our nation prosper. And so we're going to give you an opportunity to sit down with us and negotiate a way through this. However, if you don't, we are ready to make war. We are definitely ready to make war, and political war, not physical kinetic war. We're not going to blows here, but we are probably going to put up our political dukes, because we're not going to allow Christians to be brushed aside in this nation and lose the landscape that we have every right to fight on at election time. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So anyway, I hope that's a good debrief for you. I hope you are going to bring some people with you to the next briefing. Matter of fact, you might want to bring more than a few people, because one of the things we're going to be talking about later in the call here is about building coalitions, and it's about people. It's about bringing people together. So anyway, let's take this quick break. Come right back after. I've got a great resource for you to share with you, and then we're going to go right into a fantastic event that's coming up next week, and it's a book launch by Cathy Peters. So back in a flash. Okay, let's keep going on now. With we have some exciting things to tell you about today. So, I mean, it's just going to be one right after another. So, we're going to move a little quick here from this point on. But let's start here. You know that we have a service dashboard here on the National Leadership Briefing. It looks like this. I will include a copy of it in the post-briefing notes. It basically shows all of the different areas where we engage to help serve the people that we have come here on the briefing, that we come into contact with. It's a service dashboard for us in serving you. Now, one of the things that's on the dashboard here is it says we like to curate information. It's kingdom information, training, and education materials. That's what that says here. And we curate a list and a sort of an inventory of these materials so that you have good information to access in executing your call on your life. They're just resources that are there and you can kind of pick through them. One is, for example, we had on last briefing, we had Catherine Gallagher of Go Strategic, and she had published this book on worldview, Christian worldview. Of course, in politics and government, we want to look through all the issues related to politics and government through the lens of a Christian worldview. So that's why we brought you that. We also, a couple of briefings ago, you see that book here on my desk right here, As in Heaven. That's a manual on kingdom, God's kingdom. And that was another resource. I'll put the link in there for that one as well, because that's a really good one to have. But the reason why I'm telling you all of this is we also came across a political guide to engagement for us as citizens here in Canada that was created by a gentleman by the name of Martin Tampier. So I've got Martin coming up here. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is a writer, lecturer, and part-time political activist and a church-going Christian, just so you know. He advised at the Frontier Center for Public Policy on the Citizens Guide and the creation of the guide that we're going to show you, supervising production and editing the content. He joins us today from his home in the beautiful province of Quebec, just near Montreal, where he lives with his wife and son. So let's welcome Martin to the briefing here today and talk about what it is that he's providing you as a curated, qualified, and I guess approved by the National Leadership Briefing, because this really is an incredible guide. Let's hear from Martin now. Well, Martin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on the briefing. I appreciate it. Tell me, how have you been?
Very good. Yeah, thanks. Enjoying spring weather as much as it comes through. So yeah, no, so far so good, but very busy, as you can see, with bringing out the French version of the guide and the English version last December. So it's not been an easy birth. Let's put it like that.
No, and like I say, I mean, just before we had you on here today, I was telling you when I saw the guide, the Citizens Guide that we're going to be talking about today, that's no small feat what you have pulled off here. So I'm excited to get into it. First of all, before we get to the guide, I wanted to ask you something really important, and I think this speaks to the quality of the work that and what you put together here. What was it that motivated you, first of all, to actually step out and take on this like Goliath of a project and by building the Citizens Guide? What is it that turned you on to this?
So yeah, I am from Germany originally. I moved to Canada in 1999. And was a bit surprised by this culture of political correctness. In Germany, I could speak my mind. I wouldn't lose any friends. Coming over here, it's quite different. So I had to tread more carefully. And this has evolved over time into what we have today, where, you know, some speech might even be criminalized, or you're no longer sure you can talk about certain topics with your own children. So this had me very concerned about the political direction that Canada is doing. I found that they were repeating some of the mistakes that were made in Germany some 80 years ago, and that it's going in somewhat the same direction. Not exactly, of course. There's many differences too, but yeah, let's say how politics evolved in this country had me very worried. And then the other aspect is you hear so much from so many sources. So people no longer trust the large media, the legacy media. So you go kind of look for information everywhere, and there is definitely a lot of disinformation. So the other thing is I had just many questions as to what's true, what's not true, what can we say, how bad is it really? And just to kind of understand all of this. And then, of course, thinking about that, I'm thinking, well, most people I know don't understand this either. So it might be a good idea maybe to write this all down and get together a team of experts who can intelligently speak to all those questions. And that's then what I set out to do. I contacted Civitas as kind of a community where several of my authors were recruited and brought together a team of pro bono, let's say, workhorses who were foolish enough to do this and help me out and bring in their expertise to this project.
Well, and what a project. And it's interesting because just earlier on today, I was on a call and we were talking about the things that hold people back from taking action in the political and governmental realm, like actually exercising their influence or their authority as citizens at election time or things like that. And one of the things that was identified as a key inhibitor of someone taking action was when they had an unanswered question. And it wasn't just any unanswered question, it's specifically a question about how does it work? Like, I mean, they just needed to understand real foundational things that gave them enough confidence so that they could step out in action. And so is this something that you're seeing? You must be seeing light bulbs going off all over across Canada. When you're talking to people who get this guide, what kind of response are you getting from people?
Yeah, well, yeah, people are, at least some of them are very happy to help spread it. They find this is a very useful resource. I've also had some more negative, return, maybe from some groups that are very, that are Christian, that really want to have this Christian message in there, which you can get from a similar RPAR guide, actually. But generally, yes, I've had some good feedback where people think this is a very useful resource. Some of them I'm still waiting because it's a long resource. It's 130 pages long.
Right.
So let's see. But yeah, so it depends on which political color you are as well, I guess, as to what your feedback will be.
Right, right. And it's interesting that you mentioned the Christian feedback, because one of the things that we serve, like we serve Christians in our organization, but we also serve non-Christians out there all the time as well. And it's we're always trying to remove stumbling blocks from people taking action. I mean, our organization is called Canada Family Action for a reason, because that's ultimately where we want people to be, is in motion. So give me an example, like you've shared it with other organizations. Is there a part of the Citizens Guide that you have people are like particularly appreciate, or is there something that stands out in your mind as to have really like dislodged misinformation in the minds of people? Because when I went over it, and when you see it, when everybody sees it out there, you guys are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. This is an exhaustive review of it all. Like, it really is soup to nuts, as we call it here. So let me know. Yeah. What is your experience there?
Yeah, I said I don't get an awful lot of feedback, so there's not a ton of people that have emailed me because it's also not in my name. I mean, I was the instigator and I helped bring this about, so I was a bit in an editor function. But yeah, it's been posted on the Frontier Center's website and some others, and I'm just one out of many. So it's not that
Wow.
I get the direct feedback from everybody. I did promote it somewhere on Facebook and other social media sites and so on. But yeah, so I don't think there's anything controversial about it. We've tried to remain fairly non-partisan and what is that? Unemotional, right? Factual.
Right.
So I think people can live with it. I mean, I'm sure there's parts that some will or will not like. There's definitely a question around this whole question of the charter, right? So Brian Peckford definitely replied to some of it, and I think there are two factions there. Some that think the charter is a good thing, and we just have to apply it right, and there's others that think it was a mistake to even have it. So
Right.
that discussion, I think, is ongoing in Canada, and we're taking probably one side in the guide, but I think the discussion is not over.
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited to get it in the hands of the people that we serve. I'm going to be encouraging them to share their feedback with me. And why don't I commit to today to passing it on to you? Because again, if you're going to go out and continue to do work like this, and on other projects that we can be talking about, then I want to make sure that there's a feedback loop there, and especially from our organization. So, well, thank you so much. Now, oh wait, I wanted to say one more thing too, for our friends in Quebec.
Yes,
You've got some good news for them as well.
that's true. So last Sunday, we published this same guide in French. So it's a complete translation, including images and everything. So the whole thing has been translated and is now available on the website of a news outlet called Quebec Nouvelle. So if you go on the website, it's right there on the first page. You'll see it, no problem. And they're promoting it here in the Belle Province.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Martin. Okay, so everyone on the briefing today and the post-briefing notes today, you're going to have all the details about the Citizen's Guide to Canadian Politics. Thank you very much, Martin, for joining us on the briefing today. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I told you we had a special event coming up as well, a special event with Cathy Peters. She, of course, is someone that is no stranger to the briefing. She is an anti-human trafficking educator. She works with not only elected officials at all levels of government, whether it's municipal councils, provincial leaders, or federal members of parliament. She also serves local police forces, does education programs for them and also at schools. Cathy is everywhere, and she has an event coming up, a book launch that we want to introduce to you now. So I want to give you the details for that. So let's bring Cathy out and have a chat. Okay, well, thank you so much, Cathy, for joining us here on the briefing. It's good to see you again. How have you been?
Just great, Doug. Thanks so much.
Excellent, excellent. Well, hey, we've got this special event coming up. I love sharing you with other people. Before we get to the details of the event, though, there are some people on the briefing today. We've got lots of new people joining us every week. We want to make sure that they know who you are. Introduce yourself. I want people to know who you are.
Okay, so my name is Cathy Peters, and I was an inner city high school teacher over 45 years ago where I saw the sexual exploitation of youth. But for the past 11 years, I've been raising awareness about the crime of human sex trafficking, sexual exploitation, and child sex trafficking. Just so you all know, it is the fastest growing crime globally and very much here in Canada. My website is the beamazingcampaign.org, and the second edition of my book, and this is the big event, the big call out, is Child Sex Trafficking in Canada and How to Stop It, the second edition. This is an important book for you to have. There's no book like it in the country. And then I now have two booklets, and I advertise it on my website, but one for the Indigenous, I'm not for sale, and one for public health providers.
Right. So you've been doing this a while. We've been in relationship for a while. You're proven. Your information is tried, tested, and true. And whenever you upgrade or add something to your arsenal, we want to shine a bright light on it, which is what this event is all about on Wednesday, May the 7th, and it starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. What is happening if people join the Zoom call that we're at a special event that we're having online on that day? What are we going to be doing that day?
I think the main thing is that we're just going to go over the trends, where this whole thing is going right now, and what people can do. We're going to give action steps. I'll have a few people speak up and share, but I really need people to pray. It really is a call to prayer, because this crime is not going away until we really bring it out in the open.
Excellent, excellent. And this is, you're in the right place for, if you would like prayer, everything, as you know, Patty, here on the briefing, we surround with prayer. We believe that the prayer goes out before, during, and after everything that we do. So we'll definitely be doing that. You're going to be launching your book on that. Hold that book up again. I love the title of the book too. It's Child Sex Trafficking in Canada and How to Stop It. This is a really great book, second edition. You've made some changes to the first edition, obviously. You've made it better, and we want to launch that book on that day. Anything
Exactly.
before we go?
Exactly. Just really briefly, I want to go over what I want people to do. I want you to learn, share, alert. So learn about the issue, share about it, talk about it with your family, friends, contacts, your churches, please, and then alert the people in power. I mean, we just had an election. Alert your politicians, but all three levels of government. Believe it or not, that makes a huge difference.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to be putting in the post briefing notes today, Cathy, all of the details, the links, how people can register, how they can get in touch with you. We want links to the book. If people want to buy the book ahead of time, give it a bit of a read, we will give all that information. But we look forward to seeing all of you at this event. If you have a heart for the vulnerable people that live in your communities, you want to be here at this event and get this information from Cathy. Thanks so much, Cathy, for being here today. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Thanks so much, Doug.
So again, I just want to make sure you don't miss this. This is next week. This is May the 7th, Wednesday, May the 7th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll make sure that the link is not only in the post briefing notes today, but we'll make sure we send it out to you as a reminder just before that special event next Wednesday. All right, we have another event coming up that I want to make sure is on your radar screen. It's a little bit further down the road. This is the event for the Transformer Zoom calls that we host. Now, let's just put this into perspective. Again, we're on that service dashboard. If you look right here, you see the service dashboard, and you'll see here a part here that says Community Transformation Committees. So we encourage at local levels, people of faith, people that have that share our views and values, that want to find ways to advance Christian principles into the conversations that take place locally. Why? Again, I'm going to say it again, because they produce, when applied, positive results in the lives of our neighbor. And we love our neighbor. We're called to love our neighbor. So community transformation committees are a great idea to bring together locally in churches, in communities, wherever you can forge them together, if you don't mind me use that word again. And so we have a community transformation minded call for people every couple of months, and we have another one coming up on June the 5th. So I just at this point in time want to draw your attention to the date, and I want you to look to the post briefing notes, put it in your calendar. I'm going to be getting you more information as we get closer to the date, but the reason why I'm giving you lots of lead time is because we have George Otis Jr. Now, if you don't know who George Otis Jr. is, I am going to tell you to Google it. Because you're going to find so much out there about the Sentinel Group and George Otis Jr. that you are going to go, oh, that's really interesting. If you don't know who it is, you're going to go, oh, that's fantastic. Now, I'm also going to put one very important link, and this is really what I want you to do at this point. Look to the post briefing notes today, because I'm going to give you a link to the Facebook page for the Community Transformation Team. If you are on the Facebook page and you like the page, you will receive the notices of whenever we're hosting events. Now, I'm always going to tell you about them here on the National Leadership Briefing, because we actually are a part of that project, but I want you to also hear from them directly and receive the updates from them. So if you're on their Facebook page and on their mailing list and you're hooked up with them, then you'll get the notices directly about these events as well. Okay? All right, so mark that on your calendar. Look to the post briefing notes. All right. Now, we're going to take a quick break here and just get real fresh, because when you come back, we're going to be talking about the plan moving forward. You and I are going to talk about the road ahead, and you are going to get yourself sort of mentally and physically postured to move into a slightly different direction. All right? Get ready for that. Right after this break, we will be right back.
It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, this is my favorite part. I tell you, besides a boardroom, when we come around the home stretch, and I always save this really good stuff until the end. I always want to make sure that when you leave, you go, that was a good finish. Like that was really, really a good way to top that off. So I've got that for you here today. Before we get into that, though, and remember what I told you we were going to be doing. We're going to be talking about the road ahead. We're going to be talking about those adjustments that we're going to need to be making on the road ahead. But first, I want to tell you one thing. Uh, there are times in our ministry where sort of like you stretch out beyond your resources. One is election time. So we just throw it all out there. You know, we don't have a ministry where you gather together a whole bunch of money and you put it in a pot and you dance around it at night. No, when it comes in, we deploy it. We deploy all the resources that we receive. And we are just coming out of election. We've done all we've spent it all. Okay. So this is what happens is that we need to ask you if you would kindly consider helping us to rebuild our war chest. I mean, there's a lot we can do here on the road ahead. We're a lot more efficient when we have resources, though, to get it done. We get it done quicker. We get it done more efficiently. And I think we do a better job. The more we have, the better we are. So if you would consider, I'm going to put a link in the post briefing notes. You can actually e-transfer directly. That is the best way. Is you can e-transfer directly to the ministry at info@familyaction.ca. So info@familyaction.ca. If you want to e-transfer now, if you wouldn't mind sending us an email with your contact information as well and saying, hey, I just e-transferred you. I just sent you an e-transfer. Make sure that we've got all your contact information because we want you to be a part of make sure you've got all the information from the briefing. You're on our mailing list. You get all the training, whatever it is that we can do to support you as a donor as well. We don't have any sort of class systems, by the way. We don't have if you donate, you go behind the paywall or if you donate, you get special time with Doug. We haven't got any of that set up. It's just basically, we just give it all away. And we just trust God that he'll touch people and say, we're going to prod and provoke you to give to this ministry. So praise the Lord. He's provided all these years. Here we are so many years later, and we're still here. So anyway, thank you so much for your partnership. For those who are already partnered with us, you've really made so much possible over these many years, and we appreciate you very much. So thanks so much. Let's get on to it here. Okay. The road ahead. Well, let me tell you first, before I tell you what's going to change and what's new, I'll tell you what's not going to change and what we're going to actually be putting a greater emphasis on because we've learned so much. We've learned so much on this road, you and I walking together. Our Canada Family Action as the parent organization, serving the local church since 1997 under another gentleman by the name of Brian Rushfeld and Charles McVitie ran the organization. We had Roy Beyer here. I mean, we're talking about just giants, pillars that have sown so much into the organization over so many years. And we've been here, but we've learned so much through all of those experiences. But we're always looking at the plan. We're always tweaking it. We want to make sure that we're being relevant in that moment. The things that, though, we are not going to be changing moving forward, and we're going to be focusing on perhaps shining a brighter light on them, are these things. First of all, critically important infrastructure within local churches. Moving forward, I can't say this enough. If you don't have one of these when you need it, it's too late. It's called a citizen action group ministry. If you are a leader of a church, a pastor, a church leader, a priest in a Catholic church, if you are a rabbi in a synagogue, I mean, we're just talking about whatever we can do to help people of faith who support the principles that underline the four pillars. And remember, it's parental authority. I'm talking about being paramount, not government authority over parents. We're talking parents having the right to raise their children the way they want. If you believe that our right of belief and freedom of religion must be respected and defended by our elected officials and that they must rise up and fight to defend them. They can't just sit around and let other people attack us. That's not allowed by the people we elect. We also believe that the laws and policies of civil government at all levels, municipal, provincial, federal, must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable that live among us in our communities. That's why we are constantly talking about abortion. Preborn children, very vulnerable in the womb. If 1 in 5 pregnancies in Canada right now are ending in an aborted fetus, That's a problem. That is a pretty important problem. And you can see that there's a vulnerable class of citizens there that we really want to protect. So if you believe in that, if you believe in protecting the shut-in elderly, those living with chronic pain, and you believe you want to protect them from euthanasia, premature euthanasia, death, these are the things that we do here. We also, and the final pillar is that the things we rally around are this belief that it's inappropriate for civil government to heap debt on the backs of our children and future generations. So if children have this yoke of taxation on them from the time they're born, then they are being born into servitude as bond servants of civil government. We do not want that. We want our elected officials to work to alleviate this problem. So this is why we come together. This is why these are the things that we're going to continue to do. And the Citizen Action Group ministry within the church, within the local church, and it's a very specific way we cobble it together. Remember, if you haven't seen the resources that we have, I'll put them in the post-briefing notes, but it's a very specific way you launch a citizen action group in your local church so it doesn't cause division. You don't have a bunch of people. You're not creating a range war as a pastor within your church of different factions who believe in different things. No, there's a certain way of doing it. It's pastor-led. It's there to serve the leadership of the church and help them navigate the complexities of the political and governmental landscape here in our nation. I'm telling you, just from my mouth to your ears, from a place of experience, that over all of the years that I have been in this realm, working between the church and between the political and government mountain here in Canada, I can see ahead here, and I'm going to say it's going to get complicated for you on the way ahead in your local churches. In your local churches, you're going to have problems if you don't have infrastructure like this in your church. So I don't know, maybe I'm really trying to drive this one home this time, but so many churches get caught flat-footed dealing with things that they have no point of reference, no frame of reference, no way of dealing with them because they haven't built the infrastructure. And the way we help you do it, man, it's so easy, man. Well, maybe it's not easy. Maybe it's going to take some sweat. You are going to work a bit of a sweat at times, but it's fun. We have a lot of fun. We keep a smile on our face, and you'll like it. It's not painful at all. Okay, so that's one. Citizen Action Group Ministries. Another thing is it's critically important on the road ahead. Government is going to be inserting itself in a way that you've never seen. I mean, you thought it was bad before, but now government at the federal level is about to insert itself between the parent and the child in incredible ways. And if you don't have a way of bringing the authority of parents together in a coalition in the form of a parents' advisory council, then you're going to really be leaving your parents that are sitting in your congregations out there in the wind. Like, they're going to be vulnerable. And again, we're using remember, this is the service dashboard, right? Citizen action groups are right here. And then we've got parents advisory committees here. I mean, I'm just telling you things that aren't changing. We're actually going to keep doing that, and we're going to keep helping parents come together. So if you are a parent of school-age children in your local church and you want to bring parents together, and you don't know how to do it, you got to call us. You got to get in touch. Send me an email, president@familyaction.ca. You do not want to wait. It's go time for parents, man. You've got to work together. You got great authority as a parent. Believe me, but I'll tell you put 10 of them in a room and you sit down with a local leader and then let them know what you need, and local school board elections and all that kind of stuff. Everything becomes easier when you're multiplied when the authority that you have is multiplied by the relationships that you build, which brings us to the next thing that we're going to be focusing on the road ahead. Now, this is going to be relatively new. I mean, we've been doing this, but we've kind of put a new frame around it and have been working for a couple of years now on this project that we're getting really close to rolling out. And that is something called coalition building within the frame of a project called the Rebuilders Network. Now, restoring families and communities is important to so many of us. There's been so much damage done. We're broken, we're hobbled, we're injured, we're fatigued, but if you bring a group of people around to tackle a specific challenge in your community, and you've got subject matter experts that are in your midst to help you navigate and building that coalition, it makes it so much easier. You're going to get so much further. The work is going to be shared among many people. Many hands make light work. That's the expression, right? It's so true. So Rebuilders Network is the project. We're going to be launching it very soon in a formal way. We've talked about it before. But in the meantime, I want you to search your heart to ask yourself, just say, wait a second. First of all, is the Lord asking me to ally with anybody in a specific area for a specific reason or cause or purpose in my local community at street level? Or is it a provincial or national level? I mean, maybe you want to be a part of a coalition nationally. But whatever God is saying to you about where you should be deployed, where you yourself should be deployed, we definitely want to know about it, because we have all these people across the nation who have, they have a heart for this and they have a heart for that and we have a heart for that. And I look out over the landscape and I go, man, I wish that Mary knew Bill, and I wish Harry could get in touch with Fred over here, because they're all on the same page. They're all working the same thing, right? So these coalitions with subject matter experts and involved in helping you, man, I'm telling you, there's so much we can accomplish. So you're going to see coalition building as being a primary emphasis moving forward. Now, remember what I said at the beginning of the briefing today? Remember when I said that we're going to be going into a negotiation phase as part of the plan moving forward on the political landscape, and that we may need to get into, kind of a bit of a warfare stance. Please don't get me wrong on that. If you don't know me, I'm a happy warrior. I'm a guy that when I say war, it's probably the best time you ever had going to war. Now, we got to be serious with these guys. We've got to be serious, because I'll tell you what, politicians will poke you in the chest and they'll say, I don't have to listen to you. They'll say that to you if you're not presented it properly. If you just show up and you're just kind of going, hey, I was kind of wondering if maybe we get a chat and all that stuff, and it's kind of weak. Politicians smell weakness, man. They'll bull you aside. So there's going to be a firmness to our approach and our tone, because there's going to be teeth to what we're saying. I mean, we are bringing the national leadership briefing, and we're bringing like churches all across the country, all of these centers of influence. We're going to be gathering a coalition together to stage this and wage this political war. However, what I want to know from you is that, are you a general? Are you a general? Are you a soldier? Do you want to stay local? Are you a prayer? Remember, because here's the service dashboard again. The whole thing is wrapped in strategic prayer. You could say, wait a second, hey, where am I deployed? If we're going to war, where am I deployed? What should I be doing? Where should I be, right? So I'm going to put a copy of the service dashboard, and you pray over it. You pray over this dashboard and say, if Doug Sharp is going to be putting a strategy together, and he's going to use pieces of this and pieces of this and down here, and we're going to have some kingdom compliance issues, and security might be an issue, all of these things, I want to know who you are, and I want to know what God has gifted you with. I want to know, because everything that is in God's heart for this nation, I believe, He has provided a remnant, something that's on the heart of the remnant. And you are that person, but you got to, if you don't already know, get on your knees and pray to God that Jesus bursts a vision in your heart for what God wants you to do, because the time is now and He needs you to come forward. Present yourself. I need to know who you are. Now, I'm not going to drag you out of where you're a comfortable space. If you tell me, Doug, I just like to pray in my house, that's fine. I'm not going to drag you out to rallies and be street. That's not how it works. But I do need to know who you are. And I do need to know what God's placed on your heart. So it's important on the road ahead. There is purpose. You listening to this message today, if you're listening to this message today, there's purpose to why you're here. So don't skip too fast over that. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I need here. Okay, and finally, yeah. I'm going to include our U training video. I don't have time to play it today. I don't have time. We have something on the National Leadership Briefing called the National Leadership Briefing Essentials. They're training videos. They're essential foundational training videos. There's 4 of them. And I'm going to be including the U training video, and I'll include the other ones as well, but I'm going to highlight the U training video. Watch the U training video, because it really, really highlights the importance of your role in the plan moving forward. In a way, it kind of accentuates what I just said, but it also gives a foundation of training as well, so that you are postured correctly mentally to then go ahead and participate in the plan moving forward. So watch that video. That's the homework, I guess. I don't like giving homework, but I guess that's the homework. Pray that Jesus bursts that vision in your heart for what God wants you to do, and he will reveal it to you, and then get in touch with me. And let's move forward with smiles on our faces, joy in our hearts, honoring God in everything we do, because we have to conduct ourselves in a manner that's worthy of the gospel of Christ. You know that. That's in the Bible. And so we want to do that, but we are looking forward to just moving forward together. That's what we're all about, coming together in the National Leadership Briefing. All right, okay, I won't drag this out any longer. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for the blessing that you are to this ministry. Thank you for the blessing that you are to the work that we do. And praise God. Thank God that we have the country of Canada. And remember, next briefing, you and I'm going to be bringing a strategic plan for moving forward in the political realm that is going to correct this challenge that we have with the Conservative Party of Canada and the diminishing space we have on the political landscape to present our ideas and be a part of the electoral processes of our nation. So you definitely want to join us for that. Thanks so much for your time. Until we get together next time, though, remember, I will be praying for you. I will be praying for your family, and I will be praying for this incredible, magnificent country of Canada. Bye for now.